The sky was calm, painted in soft shades of gold and blue as Flight PK907 cut through the morning air. Most passengers were relaxed, some listening to music, some watching movies, some drifting into sleep. No one imagined that before landing their lives would depend on one quiet woman sitting in seat 17A. Her name was Maya Khan. She wore a simple hoodie, her hair tied back, earbuds in, avoiding attention. There was something steady about her posture straight, her eyes sharp. But nothing about her suggested the truth, that she once flew fighter jets at speeds no civilian plane could ever match. She was a legend in the Air Force, though no one here knew. Maya preferred it that way. After leaving the military, she promised never to return to the sky as a pilot. Too many memories, too many missions that changed her life forever. So now she lived quietly, letting the world forget her call sign, Falcon 7. The flight had been smooth for the first 2 hours. The cabin crew served meals, kids laughed, the sun glowed through the windows. Maya leaned back, trying to enjoy the silence she rarely got in her past life. But silence never lasted long for someone like her. At 32,000 feet, a sudden bang tore through the right side of the aircraft. The plane lurched violently, food trays fell, passengers screamed. The lights flickered as oxygen masks dropped. Maya's eyes snapped open instantly, her instincts returning faster than her breath. "Ladies and gentlemen, please stay seated," the flight attendant shouted, but she herself could barely stay steady. Another jolt shook the aircraft, harder this time. The right engine's vibration grew so intense it echoed through the cabin floor. Passengers held onto seats, praying under their breath. Maya unbuckled her belt and looked out the window. A trail of smoke curled from the right engine, spinning into the sky. The captain came over the speakers, voice trembling. This is your captain. We have experienced an engine failure on the right side. Please remain calm." But he didn't sound calm. The passengers knew he wasn't. Maya felt her heartbeat pick up, not in fear but in calculation. Engine failure at this altitude. Turbulence increasing. Plane losing stability. She clenched her jaw. She could remain silent. She could stay just another passenger. But as the plane dipped, she knew she didn't have that choice. Another explosion ripped the air. This time, the left engine coughed, sputtered, and went completely silent. The sound of both engines dying was terrifying, like the world went mute. The aircraft began to drop, fast. People screamed. Babies cried. A man fainted. Flight attendants were thrown to the floor, scrambling to get up. The cabin tilted as if the sky itself was falling on them. Maya gripped the armrest, her military training roaring back like lightning. A twin-engine failure, at cruising altitude, with turbulence. This wasn't just bad. This was fatal. She stood up. "Ma'am, please." "Sit down," a flight attendant cried. "I need to speak to your captain," Maya said. But Maya's eyes were cold, focused, unshaken, the eyes of someone who had seen chaos before and survived it. "We can't allow—" Just then, the speakers crackled again, filled with panic. "If anyone on board has aviation experience, any aviation experience, please come to the cockpit immediately." The plane continued to fall, oxygen masks swaying like pendulums with every shake. Maya stepped over fallen trays and frightened passengers as she made her way up the aisle. People stared at her, desperate, looking for hope in anyone who seemed calm. A little girl grabbed Maya's sleeve. "Are we going to die?" she whispered. Maya knelt for a moment, meeting her eyes. "Not if I can help it." She squeezed the girl's hand gently before moving on. When she reached the cockpit, a flight attendant hesitated before letting her in, until the captain's voice shouted, "Let them in now." The door swung open. Inside, chaos. Warning alarms blared. Red lights flashed across the cockpit panels. The co-pilot struggled to keep the aircraft level, sweat pouring down his forehead. The captain looked pale, his hands trembling over dead engine controls. Both men stared at Maya as she entered. "You said you have aviation experience?" the captain asked, voice shaking. Maya took a slow breath. "I'm a former fighter pilot." The co-pilot froze. The captain blinked in disbelief. Maya stepped forward, her voice calm, controlled and confident, completely opposite of the panic surrounding her. Move aside, she said gently. I can help. The co-pilot slid over without hesitation. Maya sat in the left seat, the captain's seat. Her hands rested on the controls as if she had never stopped flying. She scanned the entire panel in seconds. Fuel pressure 0, hydraulics unstable, electrical systems failing one by one. The captain whispered, "What do we do?" Maya didn't look up. "We fly this down," she said, "and we pray the wind listens." This wasn't a fighter jet. This wasn't a battlefield. But for the first time in years, Maya felt like Falcon 7 again. And 180 lives now depended on her. Maya tightened her grip on the controls. Flight PK-907 trembled violently, dropping hundreds of feet every few seconds. Both engines were dead, the cockpit alarms were screaming, and the passengers behind her were praying for their lives. But inside Maya, there was only calm. Years of combat training had wired her brain for chaos. She had flown through storms that swallowed entire squadrons, glided jets with bullet-torn wings, and survived missions no pilot should have survived. Compared to all that, a civilian aircraft with 2 failed engines was terrifying, but familiar. She checked airspeed, attitude, and descent rate. "Captain, what's our nearest runway?" Maya asked without looking up. The captain stuttered over the radio charts. "We're, 120 miles from the nearest international airport." With no engines, his voice broke. "We won't make it," the co-pilot whispered. Maya didn't blink. "We don't need engines to land, we glide." The captain looked at her like she was insane. "This plane weighs 70 tons. "I've landed heavier jets," she said calmly. A half-truth, but no one needed the details right now. She reached for the radio. "Control, this is flight PK-907 declaring total engine failure. We're attempting a glide descent, requesting vectors to nearest runway." Static. Then a broken voice. "PK-907, we copy. Maintain current heading. We're sending emergency assistance." Maya kept her eyes on the horizon, her mind working like a machine. Glide angle, descent rate, wind direction. They had maybe 14 minutes before the plane either landed or broke apart. She needed help, and fast. Out of instinct, she said something she hadn't said in years. "This is Falcon 7 requesting escort." The captain looked at her sharply. "Falcon 7? Maya froze. She hadn't meant to reveal the call sign. It was muscle memory, a part of her soul she thought she buried long ago. But before she could take it back, the radio crackled, loud and clear. A deep male voice filled the cockpit. "Falcon 7, Maya, is that really you?" Maya closed her eyes for a second. She knew that voice. Major Zayden Hale, the leader of the F-35 Lightning II squadron she once flew with. The only pilot who ever matched her in skill, the one who watched her leave the Air Force, broken after a mission they never talked about. She exhaled. "Zayden, yeah, it's me." There was silence on the radio, then urgency. "Hold your altitude. We're coming to you now." The captain stared. "They know you?" Maya didn't answer. She didn't need to. Minutes later, 2 shadows streaked across the clouds. Then the unmistakable silhouettes of F-35s sliced into formation beside the crippled aircraft, wings glinting in the sunlight. The whole plane shook, not from fear this time, but from hope. Zayden's jet pulled up beside the cockpit close enough that Maya could see his helmet. "Falcon 7, he said softly. "Didn't expect to find you flying a passenger plane." "I didn't expect to be flying anything," Maya replied. "Tell me what you need." "Guide me," she said. "This bird is heavy and dying." "Then we guide you home." With that, the F-35s slid into perfect escort formation, one on each side, cutting through the turbulence and carving a path for the falling airliner. Inside the cabin, passengers gasped as they saw the fighter jets appear. A man whispered, "Are they here for us?" A woman said, "God has sent help." But all of the help came because of Maya, though no one knew. Maya adjusted the glide. "Zayden, what runway?" "Runway 2-7, longest near you. Emergency crews are ready." The plane continued to lose altitude, too fast and too unstable. Maya's hands moved constantly, correcting pitch, trimming controls, stopping the aircraft from rolling to its death. But the weight was too much. Alarms shrieked again. The captain shouted, "We're dropping too fast." "I know," Maya said, voice steady. Falcon 7, Zayden called. You're coming in too high on descent. Bring your nose up 2 degrees. Use the wind. I see it. She adjusted. The ground rushed closer. The runway lights appeared far in the distance, tiny like stars on the earth. Just a little further, she murmured. The co-pilot whispered, "We're not going to make it." "Yes," Maya said, "we will." The last mile was a battle. The plane shook uncontrollably, metal groaning under the pressure, but Maya held firm, her arms burning, her breathing controlled. "Falcon 7, Zayden said softly, almost like a prayer. "Bring them home." Maya aligned the aircraft with the runway. Their altitude, dangerously low. Speed barely enough to avoid stalling. But she had done the impossible before. The wheels hit the ground. Boom, boom, skid! The plane slammed hard, sparks tearing across the runway, metal screeching, tires bursting. The aircraft slid nearly 800 meters before finally grinding to a halt. Silence. Then a wave of cries, sobs, and relief filled the cabin. They were alive. Maya slumped back in the seat, sweat dripping from her forehead. The captain looked at her like she wasn't human. You saved everyone," he whispered. Maya stood slowly. Her legs ached, her hands trembled, but her expression stayed calm. Outside, on the runway, the F-35 circled once before flying off. One last salute to their legendary pilot. As Maya stepped out of the cockpit, passengers reached for her hands, thanking her, crying, blessing her, but she only gave a small smile. The little girl from before hugged her leg. "You saved us, Miss Pilot." Maya knelt, brushing the girl's hair gently. "Just did what I had to." The captain approached again. "Nobody knew," he said softly. "Nobody knew who you really were." Maya looked up at the sky she once left, the sky that never truly left her. "Some things," she said quietly, "don't need to be known, they just need to be done." And with that, Falcon 7 walked away. Not a hero seeking praise, not a legend seeking glory, just a woman who refused to let people fall.